The soft glow of candlelight flickered against my face. I took a deep breath, ready to make a wish. Laughter surrounded me. Glasses clinked. The scent of vanilla frosting filled the air. It was my birthday. A moment of joy. A moment of celebration. Then, my phone buzzed. A notification lit up the screen. A name I knew too well. The world around me blurred as I read the message. Hey Chrissy, I just wanted to be upfront with you. My stomach tightened. I found someone better, someone younger, hotter, an upgrade. The words burned into my screen. I transferred our money into my personal account. Felt fair since I was the one making most of it anyway. No hard feelings. Enjoy your birthday. A slow breath filled my lungs. The words glowed like a neon sign of betrayal. Pulsing, cruel, casual. An upgrade? He actually said that? I didn't react. No gasp, no trembling hands, no tears welling in my eyes. If anyone at the table noticed a change, it was probably just the way I sat a little straighter, the way my smile sharpened, like the edge of a knife. I typed back one word. Congrats. No anger, no desperation, just quiet, deliberate control. Because what Nathan didn't realize, what he had never once considered in his inflated sense of superiority, was that I had been paying attention for months, and now it was my turn to make the next move. The first domino had already tipped. Setting the stage. Nathan thought he was untouchable, the kind of man who could manipulate any situation to his advantage. He had charm, confidence, the ability to spin a lie so smoothly you'd think it was your own idea. But arrogance has a price, and Nathan, he never saw the fall coming. The signs had been there for months. The late nights at work, the whispered calls in the other room, the sudden shift in how he touched me, absent-minded, distracted, like I was an obligation rather than a choice. At first, I let it slide, then I started watching, tracking the lies as they slipped so easily from his lips. Overtime at work? His company didn't offer overtime. Dinner with a colleague? Strange. That same colleague had just posted an Instagram story, at home with their dog, then the money. Venmo payments that never arrived, excuses piling up like unpaid bills. And then, one night he came home with a proposal. Babe, we should consolidate our savings. His voice smooth, persuasive, like he was doing me a favor. It'll be easier this way. I'm better with money. I'll make sure we're set. I smiled, nodded, let him believe he had convinced me. That very afternoon, I walked into my bank and opened a new account. I didn't drain our savings, not completely. That would have been too obvious. Instead, I withdrew just enough over time that he wouldn't notice, moved my portion into my new account, leaving behind just enough to keep up appearances. And now, on my birthday, I knew exactly what had happened. Nathan thought he had outplayed me, that he had taken everything, that I was left with nothing, except he was wrong, so very, very wrong. The first move. The first thing I did when I got home, I changed the locks. Nathan had never bothered putting his name on the lease. Babe, why do all that paperwork? You're way better at that stuff than I am. Lazy, careless. And now it was going to cost him. By midnight, Nathan no longer had a home to come back to. At 1 a.m., my phone buzzed. Nathan. Hey, super weird, but I think my key isn't working. Can you let me in? I let the message sit, read, but unanswered. 15 minutes later, Nathan. Chrissy, what the hell? I need to grab some of my stuff. I still said nothing, because Nathan's stuff, the suits, the watches, the sneakers he spent a fortune on but never took care of, all packed, sitting neatly in trash bags outside the door. When he tried to step back into his old life, he'd find himself standing outside, like a stranger on the curb. And this was just the beginning. By 8 a.m. the next morning, I made a call to the bank. Hello, I need to report fraudulent activity on my joint account. What kind of fraudulent activity, ma'am? I inhaled deeply. Money was withdrawn without my permission, and I have proof that my ex transferred the funds maliciously. A pause. Then, would you be able to forward those messages to our fraud department? Of course, happy to. Within minutes, Nathan's personal bank account, the one he so proudly transferred all our money into, was frozen. No access, no funds. At 9:30 a.m., my phone buzzed. Nathan, WTF did you do? My bank account is locked. I sipped my morning coffee, typed back. Huh, weird. Maybe you should call your bank? He called. And what a call that must have been. I imagined the moment the representative explained that his account was frozen, that he wouldn't have access to a single cent until the matter was resolved, that the funds he thought were safely tucked away were now completely out of his reach, that Melissa's luxury vacation dreams had just crashed and burned, and that I was not the fool he thought I was. Nathan wasn't the type to accept defeat. Number. He was the kind of man who would set himself on fire just to feel like he was still in control. And that's exactly what he tried to do next. At 10 a.m., I made my second phone call of the day. Hello, I need to report an unauthorized transaction on my credit card. Can you confirm the details, ma'am? Yes, a rental car was booked under my name, but I never authorized it. The customer service rep typed for a moment. Thank you. We'll cancel the reservation immediately. Click. Just like that, Nathan and Melissa had no car. 12:17 p.m. My phone rang. Nathan. I let it go to voicemail. A minute later, another call, then another. By the fifth attempt, I finally picked up. Chrissy, you need to fix this. His voice was strained, panicked, desperate. My bank account is locked. My rental is cancelled. My stuff is in trash bags outside the apartment. You've made your point, okay? I twirled my spoon in my coffee, smirked. Oh, Nathan, I haven't even started. At 3 p.m., another domino tipped. Nathan had booked a luxury hotel suite for himself and Melissa. 5-star, ocean views, private balcony, a fantasy trip meant to be the cherry on top of his upgrade. Too bad. When he transferred all our money into his personal account, and that account got frozen for fraud. The hotel charges bounced. At 3:15 p.m., Nathan and Melissa arrived at the front desk, smiling, thinking they were about to check into paradise. And then, I'm sorry, sir, but your payment has been declined. What? Nathan laughed, running a hand through his hair. That's impossible. Try again. The receptionist typed, shook her head. I'm afraid your reservation has been released. Melissa's face twisted. What do you mean released? Since the payment did not go through, we had to cancel the booking. The suite is no longer available. I wish I could have seen Nathan's face. I can only imagine the moment realization hit that his grand upgrade was quickly turning into a spectacular failure. At 4:45 p.m., the best moment of all arrived. Nathan's boss called him. See, Nathan was an attention-seeking idiot, the kind of guy who couldn't just betray me in silence. Number. He had to broadcast his glow-up on social media. And the internet never forgets. Nathan worked for a company with a strict non-fraternization policy. Melissa, she wasn't just some random girl. She was his junior staff member, and now corporate had questions. At 5 p.m., my phone rang again. This time I answered. I wanted to hear him sweat. Chrissy, you need to stop this. His voice was low, controlled, like he was trying to sound calm but was failing miserably. I feigned innocence. Stop what, Nathan? My boss called me today. I gasped dramatically. Oh no, why would they do that? Nathan let out a bitter laugh. Because some people at work saw my Instagram post and now HR is involved. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Nathan, let's get something straight. I leaned back in my chair, sipped my wine. I didn't do anything to you. You did this to yourself. You stole our money. You played yourself. You lost control the moment you underestimated me. His breathing sharpened. I swear to God, Chrissy. I cut him off. No, Nathan. You don't swear to God. You swear to yourself that next time you won't be so stupid. Silence. I let it hang between us. Then finally, enjoy your upgrade if you can still afford it. Click. I hung up. Nathan was unraveling. I could hear it in his voice, see it in his text, feel it in his desperation. But I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. Because what's the point of revenge if the person who betrayed you doesn't fully understand the depth of their mistake? Nathan had one more lesson to learn, and I was about to make sure he learned it the hard way. At 9 a.m. the next morning, I woke up to a knock on my door. Not a text, not a call, a knock. Through the peephole, I saw a uniform, a police officer. I opened the door, keeping my face calm. Chrissy Walker? I nodded. Yes, is there a problem, officer? He shifted his stance. We received a report about stolen property. Your ex-boyfriend Nathan Carter claims that you've unlawfully kept items that belong to him. I almost laughed out loud. Did he now? The officer glanced down at his notepad. He specifically mentioned some designer watches, a laptop, and a few suits. I stepped aside, gestured toward the hallway, where Nathan's trash-bagged belongings still sat, untouched. Everything he left behind is right there. He's welcome to take it if he actually comes to get it himself. The officer glanced at the bags, then back at me. So you haven't prevented him from accessing his property? I smirked. Nope, but I have prevented him from accessing my apartment, my money, and my life. Is that a crime? The officer smirked back. Not at all, ma'am. Sounds like a civil matter, not a criminal one. We'll be closing this complaint. And just like that, Nathan's pathetic attempt to weaponize the law against me failed. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed, a familiar number, Melissa. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity won. I answered. Hello? Silence, then a tight, frustrated sigh. Chrissy, I need to know the truth. I leaned back in my chair. About what? Another sigh. About Nathan. His bank accounts are frozen. His job is on the line. He's crashing at my place like some homeless ex-frat boy. This isn't just bad luck. You did something. I smiled, swirled my coffee. Melissa, let me ask you something. Did Nathan ever tell you why we shared a bank account? Silence. Did he ever mention whose name was on the apartment lease? More silence. Then, softly, almost bitterly. No. He said you owed him that money, that you were controlling, that you'd never let him have any independence. I let out a short, sharp laugh. So, he convinced you that stealing from me was just him taking back control? Another silence. Then, a deep, exhausted exhale. God, I was such an idiot. I didn't argue. Because, yeah, she kind of was. The final nail in Nathan's coffin came 3 days later. His company officially fired him, not just because of the workplace scandal, though that was bad enough, but because HR had reviewed his expense reports. Turns out, Nathan had been reimbursing himself for fake business dinners, expensing hotel stays that weren't work-related. His arrogance wasn't just personal, it was professional suicide. And now, Nathan was truly left with nothing. 1 week later, the very last time Nathan ever contacted me. His name popped up on my screen. I stared at it for a long moment. Then, for the first time in a long time, I picked up. I wanted to hear it. Chrissy, his voice was hollow. You won. I said nothing, let the words hang between us. Nathan sighed. I don't get it. You didn't even try to get back at me. You didn't scream. You didn't fight. You just let everything collapse around me. I took a deep breath. Then finally, I answered, Nathan, you did all of this to yourself. I didn't have to fight you. I just had to watch you destroy yourself. Silence. Then, quietly, I messed up, huh? I smiled. Yeah, you did. Click. I hung up, blocked his number, and never looked back. Nathan was gone, erased, a ghost in my past, and yet the ripples of his destruction were still spreading. Not that I cared, I had already moved on. But Nathan was learning the hard way, that when you build your life on lies and arrogance, there's nothing left when it all crumbles. Word spread fast. Nathan's old friends turned on him instantly. His co-workers saw the warning signs long before he was fired. And his family? Well,
That's where things got really interesting. One afternoon, I got a text from a number I didn't expect. Nathan's mother, Linda. I hesitated, but curiosity won. I opened it. Linda, Chrissy, I know you don't owe me anything, but can we talk? I stared at the message, typed back. Me. Depends. Are you about to blame me for your son's life falling apart? Linda. No, I just need to know the truth. That was interesting, because if his own mother wasn't defending him anymore, it meant Nathan's charm had officially run out. Nathan was a distant memory, a cautionary tale, a reminder of everything I would never tolerate again. But fate? Fate has a funny way of wrapping up loose ends. 1 year later, I was thriving. My career had skyrocketed. That side business I started took off. Turns out, when you remove a financial leech from your life, your bank account thrives. I found love again. A real, mature, respectful relationship. Someone who didn't need to tear me down just to feel like a man. I traveled, explored new cities, tried new foods, lived for myself. And Nathan? Nathan was still trying to crawl his way out of the hole he dug for himself. It happened at a mutual friend's wedding. I almost didn't go, but something told me this was going to be worth it. And I was right. The moment I walked in, I saw him, Nathan, slumped at a table in the corner, nursing a cheap beer, looking nothing like the man who once thought he was too good for me. His once carefully styled hair, unkempt, his expensive suits, replaced by an ill-fitting dress shirt, his signature confidence, gone. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Until our eyes met, and I saw it. Regret. The kind of regret that settles deep in your bones. When you realize you traded gold for tinfoil, I gave him a small, polite smile, then turned back to my date, the handsome, successful man sitting beside me, the one who actually respected me, and I let Nathan watch me move on. Later that night, he finally gathered the nerve to approach me.
I saw him coming, pretended not to notice until he cleared his throat. Chrissy? Hey. I turned, gave him a polite, disinterested glance. Nathan. He shifted awkwardly. You look good. I smirked. I know. His lips pressed into a thin line. I guess you heard about everything? My job, Melissa, all of it. I nodded. Yep. He let out a short, bitter laugh. Guess you're pretty happy about how things turned out, huh? I tilted my head, considering my answer. Then I said the only thing that was true. No, Nathan. I don't think about you enough to be happy or unhappy about it. His face fell. I took a slow sip of champagne. Then Nathan sighed. I'm sorry, Chrissy, for everything. I wish I could take it back. I sighed, swirling the champagne in my glass. You don't get it, do you? He frowned. Get what? I smiled. I don't need your apology. I never did. Because the second you walked away, you set me free. I gestured to the beautiful life I had built. And now, I have everything I ever wanted. I let my gaze flicker over his worn-down appearance. And you have exactly what you deserve. His jaw clenched, but he had nothing left to say, because deep down, he knew I was right. As I walked away, I felt lighter than I ever had before. Nathan had been a part of my life, once, but that's all he would ever be. A past mistake, a lesson learned. And the most ironic part, he once thought that leaving me would be his greatest success. But in reality, it was mine. Because I had won the only battle that ever mattered. The battle to live well, to love better, and to never settle for less again.